Hey everybody, this is Paneb, an Egyptian criminal. Here's the picture in your text on page 84 and 85, and this represents Paneb worshiping a quilled cobra, which represents the goddess Meretsigar, who is the patron deity of the burial grounds in Thebes where Paneb had worked rather. These are the two words I'd like you to look for as you're reading. Vezer, which is a person of high importance, and blasphemy, which is offensively speaking of gods or a god. So, on page 84 and 85, the life of Paneb, around the 13th century BCE, illuminates an underside of Egyptian life rather different from the images of order and harmony portrayed in much of ancient Egyptian art and literature. Paneb was born into a family and village of tomb workers, people who quarried, sculpted, and painted the final resting places of the pharaohs at a time when royal pyramids were no longer being constructed. Granted generous allowances of grain, beer, fish, vegetables, firewood, and clothing, tomb workers represented a prestigious occupation in ancient Egypt. Paneb was apparently orphaned as a youngster and raised by another tomb-working family, that of a childless Neferhotep, foreman of the tomb workers' crew who brought his adopted son into the profession. But Paneb quarreled violently with Neferhotep, on one occasion smashing the door to his house and threatening to kill him. As an adult, Paneb married and sired a large family of 8 or 9 children. He also indulged in numerous affairs with married women and was involved in at least one rape. One of his lovers was the wife of a man with whom Paneb had grown up in Neferhotep's home. The couple subsequently divorced, a frequent occurrence in ancient Egypt. In another case, Paneb seduced both a married woman and her daughter and shared the sexual favors of the daughter with his son, Apethi. It is not difficult to imagine the tensions that such behavior created in a small, close-knit village. When Paneb's adoptive father, Neferhotep, died, he was perhaps murdered. Paneb succeeded him as a workplace foreman, thus incurring the lifelong hostility of Neferhotep's brother, Amenhotep, who felt that he had better claim to the job. What turned the tide in Paneb's favor was his gift of 5 servants made to the Vezer, the pharaoh's highest official, who was responsible for such appointments. To add insult to Amenhotep's injury, those servants had belonged to Neferhotep himself. While such bribes were common practice in obtaining promotions, it was Paneb's use of his position as foreman of the tomb workers that got him into even deeper trouble. He actively harassed his rival Amenhotep, preventing him and his family from using the small chapel in which workers celebrated the festival of their gods. He quarreled with the foreman of another work crew, saying, "I'll attack you on the mountain, and I'll kill you." Such angry outbursts led to frequent fighting and gained Paneb a reputation for his brutality. Paneb also exploited his position as foreman to his own advantage. He used, or rather stole, expensive tools given to his work for his own purposes. He ordered members of his work crew to do personal work for him, making a bed which he then sold to high official, feeding his oxen, weaving baskets for his personal use, and preparing and decorating his own tomb using materials pilfered from the royal tombs he was charged with constructing. On one occasion, he stole the covering of a royal chariot, and another time he entered a royal tomb, drank the wine intended for the pharaoh's afterlife, and in an act of enormous disrespect, even blasphemy, actually sat on the sarcophagus containing the embalmed body of the ruler. Although rebuked from time to time by high officials, Paneb's bad behavior continued. He could not stop his clamor. According to an official document, at some point, Paneb's son publicly denounced his father's sexual escapades. But the final straw that broke his career came from Amenhotep, Paneb's longtime rival. He apparently had had enough and drew up a long list of particulars detailing Paneb's crimes. That document, from which our knowledge of Paneb largely derives, has survived. It concluded in this fashion: "He is thus not worthy of this position, for truly he seems well, but is like a crazy person, and he kills people to prevent them from carrying out a mission of the pharaoh. See, I wish to convey knowledge of his condition to the Vezer." The outcome of this complaint is unclear, for Paneb subsequently disappears from the historical record, and a new foreman was appointed in his place. It was not, however, Amenhotep. All right, that's it, everybody.